among the water soluble vitamins, the most important vitamin which I feel takes a lot of time to understand and remember is this one called folic acid. Folic acid, the name is from folium, means from leaf. That means from the source of this vitamin is mostly leafy vegetables. It has many other names like Wills factor, vitamin A, vitamin B, C, but it has see the timing when this vitamin was discovered. You will find most of the vitamins were discovered within this period. Why? Because deficiency in manifestation of these vitamins, to show and prove, you need human subjects. Till date, is it possible to acquire permission to do any test on human being? Yes or no? No. So how come they did that time? Because that time World War II was going on. They had many POWs, prisoner of wars. No need of taking any permission. Do whatever you want on human being. Do whatever you want on human being. Among the most of the POWs camps, the British and American camps were a little better, but other camps were very horrible. You know there are many stories about Japanese POW camp, German POW camp, Russian POW camp. Horrible stories are there available. So there they performed all sorts of tests on human being. At what temperature human being can die, at what temperature human being will not survive anymore, will lose all the senses, how the sequentially all the senses will go off. All these tests and tested and documented during that period. Anyway, so it was found during Second World War. Now, this is composed of three parts. Composed of the chemistry part I am talking about. What I always remember, vitamins you must answer in these following headings, subheadings. One is name, chemistry, the chemical composition, then sources, then RDA, then biochemical function, then deficiency manifestation, and if there are any excess manifestation, overdose. So this has got three parts. One is Pteridine ring, another is PABA, para-aminobenzoic acid, another is glutamic acid. Glutamic acid residues are variable in number. It may range from 1 to 5. মানে একটাও থাকতে পারে, দুটো থাকতে পারে, তিনটে, চারটে বা ম্যাক্সিমাম 5টা থাকতে পারে। যদি একটা থাকে তাহলে মনোগ্লুটামেট বলা হবে, যদি 5টা থাকে তাহলে কি বলা হবে? পেন্টাগ্লুটামেট, তাই না? কোনটা স্টোরেজ বেশি হবে? পেন্টাগ্লুটামেটের স্টোরেজ বেশি হবে, মনোগ্লুটামেটের স্টোরেজ টাইম কম হবে, হাফ লাইফ। Must be reduced and glutamated prior to use by body. কিন্তু গ্লুটামেট যদি না থাকলে সেটা ব্যবহার করা যাবে না, উইচ মিন নন ফাংশনাল। টেরোইল মোনোগ্লুটামেট, অক্সিডাইজড ফর্ম, টেরোইল মোনোগ্লুটামেট। এই স্ট্রাকচার, এইটা টেরিন, এইটা প্যারাঅ্যামাইনোবেনজোইক অ্যাসিড, আর এইটা একটা গ্লুটামিক অ্যাসিড। টেরিডিন, পাবা, গ্লুটামেট। এই জিনিসটা লিখে রাখো, স্ট্রাকচার লেখার দরকার নেই, নামগুলো লিখে রাখো, এটা লাগবে। ফলিক অ্যাসিডের কেমিস্ট্রিতে এই পার্টটা ইম্পর্টেন্ট। এখানে কি আছে 6 মিথাইল টেরিডিন, মানে এখানে সাবস্টিটিউটেড টেরিডিন রিং, তারপর পাবা, তারপর গ্লুটামিক অ্যাসিড রেসিডিউ। এই দুটোকে একসঙ্গে বলা হয় টেরোইক অ্যাসিড, আর পুরোটাকে একসঙ্গে বলা হয় ফলিক অ্যাসিড। The whole structure together is called folic acid. হলো? যে স্ট্রাকচার লেখার দরকার নেই, জাস্ট নামগুলো লেখো তাহলেই হবে। এবার আসি the biosynthetic pathway of folic acid. The biosynthetic pathway does not take place in mammals or higher animals. It takes place within bacteria. Within bacteria. Okay? So it requires first tetrahydrofolate, see precursor 1, then glutamate is added, then dihydrofolate, then tetrahydrofolate. This is the active form of folic acid, the tetrahydrofolate form. So it requires several enzymatic steps. Sulfur drug inhibits the step where PABA is added. Sulfur drug inhibits the step where PABA is added. Correct? So if we give sulfur drug, what will happen to bacteria? The bacteria will not be able to synthesize folic acid. Now, what is the role of folic acid in the body, in the cell? It is required for synthesis of nucleic acid. So the bacteria cannot produce new nucleic acid, means DNA, RNA. So what will happen? The bacteria will die or will be unable to reproduce. Which one? If a bacteria fails to synthesize nucleic acid, then what will happen to the bacteria? It will die or it will not be able to produce new bacteria. So what do you call that kind of cessation of bacterial infestation? এই ধরনের ব্যাকটেরিয়াল ইনফেস্টেশনটাকে বন্ধ করাটাকে আমরা কি বলি? ব্যাকটেরিওস্ট্যাটিক। So sulfur drug is a bacteriostatic, not cedal. It is not killing the bacteria instantly, but it is bacteriostatic. Means the bacteria cell will be there, but it won't be able to reproduce. So what will happen? After some time, it will die off due to natural cause. But immediately it will not die. So it is a bacteriostatic drug, antimicrobial agent. Which one? Sulfur drugs, like sulfanilamide. Right? Trimethoprim. This particular step takes place in where? Even in higher animals. In our body. What happens? This particular step is important for synthesis of the active form of this particular vitamin in coenzyme. Right? Trimethoprim is known as an anti-cancer drug or called antifolate agent. So if we design any inhibitor which inhibits this step, dihydrofolate to tetrahydrofolate, it is dihydrofolate reductase. Dihydrofolate reductase enzyme is inhibited, then those drugs can be considered as anti-cancer drug, because the cancer cell require new nucleic acid at huge amount, because it is multiplicating more rapidly than a normal cell. So it will, the requirement for nucleic acid will be more. So requirement for folic acid will be more in cancer cell. So if we stop the supply of folic acid, tetrahydrofolate form, the active form of folic acid, then what will happen? New nucleic acid will not be synthesized. Which nucleic acid will not be synthesized? Precisely thymidine will not be synthesized. Precisely. The first effect will be thymidine will not be synthesized. Second effect will be purine nucleotides will not be synthesized. But purine can be obtained from the diet. So few amount of purine will be synthesized, but thymidine cannot be synthesized. Correct? So here that particular step is blocked by 3 such drugs: methotrexate, aminopterin, and trimethoprim. MAT. Methotrexate, aminopterin, and trimethoprim. So any drug can be picked to ask the question. Show the mechanism of action of methotrexate. Explain. So you must tell that it inhibits dihydrofolate reductase step in the biosynthetic pathway of tetrahydrofolate. The sulfanilamide structure is similar to that of the PABA. So this kind of inhibition is called competitive inhibition. So one of the best example is this. Now, what are the different forms of folic acid? Drink water. Drink water. What are different forms of folic acid? You have to remember the names. Okay? N5-formyl and last CC N5-methyl. Means each step there will be addition of one molecule of hydrogen and what? The position of methyl group will be changing from N5 to N10. Right? So N5-formyl THF, N10-formyl THF, N5-formimino THF, N5-N10-methinyl THF, N5-N10-methylene THF, then N5, this is started with N10, N5-methyl THF. Remember N5-methyl THF and N10-formyl THF. Methyl, what is the difference between methyl and formyl? Both are having single carbon. All these units are actually carrying one carbon containing substances. See, methyl, formyl, CHO, C double bond O, H. This group is transferred, this group, this group, this group, this group. So they are carrying single carbon containing substances. That's why these transfers are called one carbon metabolism. One carbon metabolism. One carbon metabolism means, explain what is one carbon metabolism. One carbon metabolism means where one carbon containing moieties are added or exchanged with different compounds with the help of folic acid derivatives. With the help of folic acid derivatives. Then the question may arise that if we add, suppose acetyl-CoA carboxylase plus CO2, that is also addition of one carbon, it becomes malonyl-CoA. Why don't you consider carboxylation within one carbon metabolism? Now this is a very intricate question. They may not ask. Suppose if you are more interested a little bit, the answer is like this. Question, did you understand the question? What is the question? Addition of one carbon, right? Why don't you consider carboxylation as one carbon metabolism? Carboxylation, simple carboxylation, CO2 is added. Why it is not considered? Because it is added with carbon, along with carbon it is added oxygen also. Oxygen also. Addition of methyl group, addition of ethyl group, methynyl group, formyl group, will not change the oxidation number, but addition of oxygen will change the oxidation number. So, it is change of oxidation number. So, it is not considered as one carbon transfer metabolism. Next, sources. Write anything and everything you know which is from plant. Everything contains. Why? Because every cell contains DNA and every cell will contain the machinery to synthesize DNA. So, every cell require folic acid. So, every cell will have folic acid. You eat every cell, you will get folic acid. Correct? Initially, it was obtained from plant. So, they said like folium. In Greek, folium means leaf. Hence, the folic acid came. Later on, they found like some amount is also found in animals also. If you take the whole egg, you will get folic acid. Because without folic acid, the egg will not be converted to chick. Correct? So, folic acid will be there, but it might be less amount in animal cells. So, we rely on plant sources for better supplementation. So, what is the myth here? See, what I want to mention here, the myth is that folic acid names a folium, so it is always available in plants. No, not like that. It is available in the animals. Plant in different form, animal in different form, plant in more amount, animal in less amount. That is all. Just go through it. Porikha ashe na. It is never asked. Eta application ache, there is an application. কোথায় অ্যাপ্লিকেশন আছে? যারা জিআই সার্জারি করে তাদের ক্ষেত্রে, ঠিক আছে, কোন অংশটা, হুইচ পার্ট অফ দ্য intestine you are removing or surgically removing, then which particular nutrient will not be absorbed. You should keep in mind. So, that nutrient should be supplied by IV injection, because oral supplementation they will not be able to absorb. So, which part is involved here? Jejunum. So, if you remove jejunum of somebody, you must give the what? IV supplementation for folic acid. So, if you go to that surgery level, it will be given. This is written in the book, anyone can read and give. You need not to rediscover anything new. It is already discovered and well written. Reduction of folate. Two-step reaction. Folate reductase, dihydrofolate reductase. Both the reactions require NADPH as reducing equivalent. NADPH. First, folate is reduced to 7,8 dihydrofolate, DHF, then 7,8 to 5,6,7,8 tetrahydrofolate. This 5,6,7,8 tetrahydrofolate is the active form, where one carbon units will be added to form different other derivatives of the folic acid. Okay? So, this step is important. Why? Because methotrexate, aminopterin and methotrexate, aminopterin, trimethoprim. Methotrexate, aminopterin, trimethoprim. এগুলি ড্রাগ, এগুলি ব্যবহার করা হয়, ক্যান্সারে ব্যবহার করা হয়, আবার ক্যান্সার লাইক সিচুয়েশনে ব্যবহার করা হয়। যেমন অনেক ক্ষেত্রে এক্সিমা বা এই সোরিয়াসিস এর ক্ষেত্রেও ব্যবহার করা হয়, ঠিক আছে, এই ড্রাগগুলো। তারপরে হাইপারট্রফি অফ দি প্রস্টেট, বিনাইন হাইপারট্রফি প্রস্টেট, সেক্ষেত্রে ব্যবহার করা হয়। সবসময় ক্যান্সার ব্যবহার করতে এখন মানেনি, আবার ক্যান্সার ব্যবহার করা হয়। ক্যান্সারে এই জন্য ব্যবহার করা মুশকিল। Sorry, everyone is English speaking over here? Huh? Sorry. Why it is difficult to be used for cancer only, orally, like a general drug, because it will be absorbed by all other tissue, which is normal. Now, there are many tissues which produces more than normal, produces cells at higher rate than a normal tissues, like hair follicle, every day growing, then intestinal mucosal cell, then blood producing tissue. So, all these tissues will be unnecessarily harmed by this drug. So, nowadays these drugs are not used directly as cancer treatment. Why? Because we have now targeting things. We must target the exact tissue where the cancer has occurred and send the drug to that tissue. Without targeting, we cannot just give on, let have this and get cured. No, nothing will happen. We must target it properly. If we are able to target it properly, then we have plenty of poison to deliver and kill the cell. Problem is how to target. That is the problem. If you discover the route of targeting of any tissue, a Nobel Prize is waiting for you. That's all. But it is very difficult because cell surface antigens keep on changing. One is good for Ghosh, it may not be good for Dash. One is good for Purokayat, one is not be good for Mondol. Difficult. Metabolic function, write down or take down whatever you want to do, but remember, a big list. There are plenty of reactions inside cell which require folic acid. Starting with coenzyme action in single carbon metabolism, that means one carbon metabolism, where they are applied amino acid metabolism. Right? Now, each one I will mention serine to glycine interconversion. Can you name the enzyme? Serine hydroxymethyl transferase converts serine to glycine. Write down. Serine hydroxymethyl transferase. Homocysteine to methionine. Who could say? Anyone? Name the enzyme. Methionine synthase. Methionine synthase. Histidine catabolism, second step of histidine metabolism, where FIGLU is produced. FIGLU, FIGLU, formiminoglutamat. Histidase, name probably the histidase. FIGLU synthesis. Nucleotide metabolism, thymidylate synthase, purine synthesis. There are two reactions in purine biogenic pathway. Disposal of one component, forget mitochondrial protein synthesis. Now, this is the dangerous part. This page includes almost all the reactions wherever these derivatives have been used. Okay? Almost all the reactions are there. How do you write? Make a central position for FH4, means tetrahydrofolate. Then, see, there are few arrows which produce tetrahydrofolate. There are few arrows which utilize tetrahydrofolate. Correct? There are few arrows which are both sided, which can interconvert. Now, start with the arrows which produce tetrahydrofolate. One of which is this, folic acid or folium obtained from plant sources. They are first reduced to dihydrofolate, then tetrahydrofolate. Correct? By this pathway. Fine. Next pathway, folate is formed tetrahydrofolate polyglutamate. What is the function of polyglutamate? It is a storage form. That means it forms a pool of folic acid inside the cell. So it is converted to polyglutamate and then it is stored in the cell. Whenever the cell requires, it can draw folic acid from that. Correct? From the store and replenishment. FH4, now try this one. This one. Tetrahydrofolate to N5 formyl tetrahydrofolate. Tetrahydrofolate to N5 formimino tetrahydrofolate. Figure. This is the step where in the histidine where tetrahydrofolate is required. Figure to glutamate. Okay. Now this step and this step they produce N5 formal and N5 formimino tetrahydrofolate. This one and this one, they both produce N5N10 methinyl. Methinyl means CH, একদিকে single bond, একদিকে double bond. Methinyl. Methylene নয়. Methinyl. Correct? Same methinyl can be synthesized from this N10 formyl. So all these formyl, formimino, they form methinyl. From methinyl they will go on reducing. See? Methinyl reduction, methyl. Methyl. Correct? Methinyl reduction to methyl. N5N10 methylene. Sorry, এটা methylene হবে. Methylene. L-E-N-E. চেঞ্জ করে নাও. Methylene. এটা ভুল আছে. Methylene হবে. L-E-N-E. Methylene. From N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate to N5 methyl. এটা ছিল N5 formyl. এটা হলো N5 methyl. N5 methyl থেকে এখানে আসতে tetrahydrofolate আসতে দুটো রিঅ্যাকশন লাগে। তার মানে কি হচ্ছে? ফলিক অ্যাসিড থেকে টেট্রাহাইড্রোফোলেট হলো, সোর্স যেটা পুল বলা হয়, সেই পুল থেকে এখানে আসলো, এখান থেকে বিভিন্ন জায়গায় বেরোচ্ছে, বেরিয়ে মিথিনাইল হয়ে এইখানে হয়ে N5 মিথাইল পর্যন্ত আসছে। কারেক্ট? এই পাথওয়েটা খুব সহজ, কিন্তু সমস্যা হচ্ছে এখান থেকে কোনোটাই ঠিক এই যে অপোজিট ডিরেকশন যে রিয়াকশনগুলো কিন্তু অতটা ফিজিবল নয়। The reactions which can regenerate tetrahydrofolate from these intermediates are not feasible normally. So what happens? All the folic acid gets accumulated inside the cell in this form, whereas cell require folic acid for synthesis of nucleic acid in this form. Correct? But we have folic acid, but not in these forms, but in N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate form. So this produces a pseudo deficiency of folic acid, and this occurs whenever, see this reaction, what is required? Vitamin B12. I mentioned there are two such reactions in our body which converts N5 methyl tetrahydrofolic acid to folic acid. One is conversion of homocysteine to methionine, just now you studied. One more I would ask you to recall from carbohydrate metabolism and tell me. Propionyl-CoA carboxylase converts propionyl-CoA to D-methyl malonyl-CoA. In the next step, racemase enzyme converts D-methyl malonyl-CoA to L-methyl malonyl-CoA. Then L-methyl malonyl-CoA to D-methyl malonyl-CoA. L আগে আছে পরে D and L, না L পরে। L-methyl malonyl-CoA to succinyl-CoA conversion is transferred by isomerase enzyme which require vitamin B12. So L-methyl malonyl-CoA to succinyl-CoA. This step is characterized by isomerase reaction, methyl malonyl-CoA isomerase. Methyl malonyl-CoA isomerase, the full name of the enzyme, or we say isomerase, which require vitamin B12. So there are two reactions in the body which utilizes B12 to convert N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate to tetrahydrofolate. Unless this conversion takes place, all the folic acid in the cell will get accumulated in the form of N5-methyl tetrahydrofolate, and that will create a pseudo deficiency of folic acid, and this condition may arise in case of vitamin B12 deficiency. So, deficiency is actually of vitamin B12, but effect will be shown as deficiency of folic acid. This condition is called folate trap. It is called folate trap. So, what is folate trap? Folate trap is a pseudo deficiency of folic acid due to deficiency of vitamin B12. Pseudo deficiency of folic acid due to deficiency of vitamin B12. Why? Because in the absence of vitamin B12 or deficiency of vitamin B12, all the folic acid intermediates gets converted to or gets accumulated in the form of N5-methyl tetrahydrofolic acid, which cannot be converted back to folate tetrahydrofolate for regeneration of other forms of derivative. Okay? So, this is important here, right? So, this diagram is important for remembering all the reactions of 1-carbon metabolism. Now, whatever reactions I have shown in that, the following slides will discuss all the reactions in writing. So, my advice will just go through it quickly. If you do not understand, just let me know. You need to remember this chart. I will come to that. Suppose everyone's brain is not same. Everyone cannot remember that one. Such a big thing. You know? So, there are small things also. We will come to that. This, you can remember this. The question will come, explain the interconversion of 1-carbon moieties, 1-carbon units of tetrahydrofolic acid. So, you have to show like this, say formic acid to formyl, methinyl, from this side also methinyl, this side also methinyl to methyl, all will come to methyl, and from here to here you require vitamin B12. So, in the absence of vitamin B12, there will be folate trap. Yeah, from all sects, all sides, this will come to here, all forms. So, this is a shorter version for 1-carbon metabolism. Now, they won't ask you such flat questions nowadays. They will pick individual reactions and ask. All 10 reactions which I skipped in previous slides, they will pick one of them and ask. It's up to you and your luck which one you remember during the examination. But most importantly, these two are most important. Which one? Methyl malonyl-CoA isomerase and methionine synthase, which involves vitamin B12. হয়েছে এটা? হয়েছে? এই স্টেপটা ফিগলু এনজাইমটা একটু কি নামটা দেওয়া আছে এখানে? নামটা মনে করতে বললাম তখন। ফর্মিনো 5 ফর্মিনো গ্লুটামেট ট্রান্সফারেজ এনজাইম নামটা মনে পড়ছে না, স্কিপিং মাই মেমোরি। This is one reaction, which is favorite reaction. All sorts of anti-cancer drugs are targeted in this reaction. They target this reaction. Okay. Conversion of DUMP to DTMP. Conversion of DUMP to DTMP, thymogylate synthase. Deficiency manifestation. So what will happen? Wherever you need to synthesize cells rapidly, those tissues will be affected. Megaloblastic anemia, blood producing tissue, cancer, folate antagonist, pregnancy and birth defects and drugs. Folic acid deficiency will cause pregnancy and birth defects. Birth defects means what kind of birth defects? Malformation of spinal cord, spinal bifida, the brain will be smaller of the fetus. What do you call? Microcephaly, formation of no brain, anencephaly, correct? So brain will not be developed. If you during pregnancy, if there is deficiency of folic acid, then this thing will happen. That's why folic acid supplementation is must during pregnancy. Whether you are from a very good, well-to-do family or not, doesn't matter. There is no excess manifestation of folic acid. Why? Because it is water soluble, excess will be drained off through urine. So no, you should give more, doesn't matter. But it should not be deficient. You know, folic acid and iron during pregnancy. Spinal bifida, anencephaly, and megaloblastic anemia. This is very common. They ask you PLP deficiency, folic deficiency, and B12 deficiency. PLP, folate, and B12. Right? Microcytic means PLP deficiency. This is megaloblastic. Means what? What did you find under the microscope? RBCs with nucleus. Size is bigger, but nucleus is still there. Mature RBC does not have any nucleus. Why nucleus is there? Because DNA is still being synthesized, but by the time RBC is doing its function. Because folic acid was deficient, that's why DNA is still being synthesized. The pernicious anemia is different. Is identical to folate. Why? Because identical to folate binds. Because it is linked, folate trap. Okay. Anti-cancer drugs that target the folate metabolism are methotrexate MAT, methotrexate, aminopterin and trimethoprim, sulfur drugs, and 5-FU, 5-fluorouracil. Fluorouracil কি করে জানো? What is the mechanism of action? ওই যে বললাম DUMP থেকে DTMP ওটা তৈরি হয় না, তাই না? ইউরিন থেকে থাইমিডিন তৈরি হয় না। ইউরাসের স্ট্রাকচার মনে আছে? তোকে জিজ্ঞেস করছি, মনে নেই। থাইমিনের স্ট্রাকচার আমি এই ড্রাগটার মেকানিজম অফ অ্যাকশন বলছি। 5-fluorouracil, 5-FU বলা হয়। ব্যাকে যা তার ছেড়ে দেখো এটা কি বল, এটা কি দেখে বল, অ্যাটলিস্ট এত ঘুমিয়ে পড়িস না। ডিঅক্সি ইউরিন মনোফসফেট, এখানে একটা অক্সিজেন, এখানে একটা অক্সিজেন। কি ফর্মে আছে? কিটো ফর্মে আছে, কিটোইনল ফর্ম, টটোমারিক ফর্ম, কিটো ফর্মে আছে। এখানে দেখ, এখানে একটা অক্সিজেন, এখানে একটা অক্সিজেন, কিটো ফর্মে আছে। এটা যদি বাদ দিতে হয়, এটা ইউরাসিল রইল, এখানে কি অ্যাড হচ্ছে? মিথাইল গ্রুপ। কে অ্যাড করছে? N5 মিথিল টেট্রাহাইড্রোফোলেট। এবার যদি আমি 5-ফ্লুরোইউরেসিল দিই কি হবে? ফ্লোরাইডটা কোথায় থাকবে? এখানে থাকবে। মিথাইলের জায়গায় ফ্লোরাইড বসে আছে। সো মিথাইল গ্রুপ cannot be transferred. So DUMP cannot be converted to এটা। তাহলে all the enzymes will be blocked by FU, fluorouracil. They will not be available for synthesis of DTMP from DUMP. So the cell will die due to lack of thymidine. Causes for folate deficiency. বলে এত সহজে পাওয়া যায়, তাহলে ডেফিসিয়েন্সি হয় কেন? ফার্স্ট কজ দেখ, বুঝিস? প্রথম কজ হচ্ছে মদ্যপান। ওই কখনো সময় খেলে হবে না, রেগুলার দুবেলা খেতে হবে। ঘুম থেকে উঠলে মদ দিয়ে কুলকুচি করতে হবে এবং ওটা বাইরে ফেলতে হবে না। তাই না? রাত্রিবেলা শোয়ার আগে এবং সকালবেলা ঘুম থেকে ওঠার পরে এই কাজটাই করতে হবে। তাহলে কয়েক মাসের মধ্যে এটা হবে। ঠিক আছে? লিভারটা খারাপ হয়ে যাবে, লিভারে কোনো স্টোর থাকবে না ফলিক অ্যাসিড। IBS বলা হয়, ইরিটেবল বাওয়েল সিনড্রোম। এর মানে কি? ফ্রিকুয়েন্ট আর্জ অফ ডিফিকেশন, তাই না? লুজ স্টুল হয়, ফ্রিকুয়েন্ট আর্জ অফ ডিফিকেশন আছে। কখন হয়? কাদের হয়? এল্ডারলি পার্সনদের হতে পারে, পিপল হু আর আন্ডার অ্যান্টি ডায়াবেটিক ড্রাগ, ওরাল হাইপোগ্লাইসেমিক ড্রাগ ফর প্রলং পিরিয়ড, তাদের IBS হতে পারে। কি হয়েছে তোর? তাদের হতে পারে, ঠিক আছে? বা কোনো কারণে যদি তাদের একটা রোগ থাকে, তাকে বলা হয়, কি বলা হয়? সিলিয়াক স্প্রু। নাম শুনেছিস? কিছুই শুনিস নি? শোনা বাবা আমার, বাবা রে, শুনে বাবা। সিলিয়াক স্প্রু নাম শুনেছিস? তাও শুনিস নি? বেশ করি শুনিস। আমার কি হলো? প্রেগনেন্ট অ্যান্ড ল্যাকটেটিং ওম্যান কেন কম হবে? মানুষ বডি একটা, কিন্তু খাদক দুজন, মা এবং ভ্রূণ। দুজনেই খাচ্ছে ফলিক অ্যাসিড, তাই না? মাও খাচ্ছে, ভ্রূণও খাচ্ছে, তাই রিকোয়ারমেন্ট বেশি, কম দিলে হবে না। মেডিকেশন, certain medication lower the folic acid concentration in the blood. কি ধরনের মেডিকেশন? মোস্টলি এই ড্রাগগুলো সম্বন্ধে কারো কোনো আইডিয়া আছে? প্রথমটা সম্বন্ধে আইডিয়া আছে? অ্যান্টিসাইকোটিক ড্রাগ, অ্যান্টিসাইকোটিক ড্রাগ, সাইকেটিক ড্রাগ, হ্যাঁ, মাথা খারাপ করে দেয়। নার্ভ রিল্যাক্সিং। কোলেস্টারামিন, কেউ বলতে পারবে কোলেস্টারামিন কি? এনিওয়ান? দেখ, এইগুলি খুব কমন, এগুলি নলেজ। এগুলি হচ্ছে একটা আর্টিফিশিয়াল রেজিন which lowers the cholesterol absorption from gut. না পড়াশোনা করলে কি করে হবে? অ্যাসেসমেন্ট অফ ফলিক অ্যাসিড। বহু আগে একটা টেস্ট ছিল, তার নাম ছিল ফিগলু এক্সক্রিশন টেস্ট। আজ থেকে 50 বছর আগে করা হতো, এখন করা হয়। কি করা হতো? ফিগলু এক্সক্রিশন টেস্ট। এখন কি করা হয়? এখন ডাইরেক্ট ফলিক অ্যাসিড মাপা যায়। আর মেপেই বা করবি কি? কম হলে দিতে হবে তো, তা দিয়ে দে, বেশি তো কোনো ক্ষতি নেই, তো মাপাও দরকার নেই। interest of research work, it is not required to be measured. Unless you want to have a foreign trip and you have a tie-up with a big laboratory where folic acid is measured, then you can prescribe to each and every person, because that will give you a very good amount of commission. In case of cancer patients, the requirement of folic acid will be high. So, how much dose of folic acid should be given to that particular patient? To determine, you might need to estimate folic acid. That is a true requirement of estimation of folic acid, otherwise it is not required. Previously, it used to be done more than 50 years back by Figlu excretion test. They used to collect the urine of people who are suspected to suffer from deficiency of folic acid. Time is over, and then culture some bacteria in it which are folic acid negative. If they survive, then folic acid is present. If they don't survive, the folic acid is not present. 4টে ফর্ম কি আছে? সায়ানোকোবালামিন, হাইড্রক্সিকোবালামিন, মিথাইলকোবালামিন আর অ্যাডেনোসিল কোবালামিন। কোনটার কি ফাংশন? কোথায় পাওয়া যায়? প্লান্টে পাওয়া যায়। হাইড্রক্সিকোবালামিন ওয়াটার সলিউবল ইনজেক্টেবল ফর্ম, সায়ানোকোবালামিন plant storage form, hydroxycobalamin water soluble injectable form, adenosylcobalamin coenzyme form, methylcobalamin animal storage form. adenosylcobalamin হচ্ছে coenzyme form আর methylcobalamin হচ্ছে animal storage form. সেন্ট্রালাইন কোবাল্ট, পরফাইনের মধ্যে একটা রিং থাকে, এরকম দেখতে হয়। সোর্সেস মোস্টলি অ্যানিমাল প্রোডাক্ট, ডেফিসিয়েন্সিতে মাইক্রোসাইটিক অ্যানিমিয়া, নিউরোসাইটিক ডিসঅর্ডার আর ক্রোমোজোম ড্যামেজ হয়। এখানে আর কিছুই না, যদি কখনো ভিটামিন ই পড়ানো হয় তার সঙ্গে পাওয়া যাবে এটা।